Well, hello there. After 2,500 miles, a full week in Colorado, I am finally back to my favorite abandoned factory. I wanted to do a follow-up and talk about what went well, what could be improved, and overall just how it did on the road. And during my 17-hour drive home yesterday, I started pondering what I wanted to call this van. I like naming things, and I think I came up with the perfect name, the Thunder Beast. Pretty good, right? Imagine that spray painted on the side of the van, maybe with a mural of me riding a giant mystical Cobra shirtless, showing off my 12-pack and sexy body. Also, sorry I'm so close to the camera, I had to send my lavalier mic in for warranty repair. It was having an issue with my camera, causing a lot of interference, so I've got my normal microphone on there, so I have to be a little bit closer to the camera. I did a pretty in-depth review of the van last week before we hit the road, so it is going to be a very different scene inside of there because it does look like someone's lived in there for about a week. So let's go ahead and turn our attention to the inside and talk more about the Thunder Beast. Welcome back inside the van after a week of me living in it. One thing I changed after filming that last video, I went and bought a cheap mattress pad at Target for like 15 bucks. I figured with my bike being so close to the bed and being ridden on dirty, dusty trails, it would get the mattress dirty, so I just went and picked up this mattress pad that is washable. Good thing I did, because this mattress pad got very dirty from my front bike tire, so now all I have to do is just take it off, wash it, and the mattress will stay clean. Pretty much everything did stay in place. The only thing that didn't work out were the magnets for my Camelback. It fell once with one magnet, so I actually doubled them up. As you can see here, they've actually slid down. They were attached to the roof. I'm not sure how they got there. I think they fell and remagnetized themselves. All my bags that I stored underneath the bed pretty much stayed in place. With the rubber flooring, it's got decent enough grip. Nothing slid around too much unless I was taking a really hard corner. But as far as I'm concerned, it's in the same place where I left it, so it was easy to find stuff. You see the fan hanging here above me? This little thing actually worked really well. I know I mentioned in the last video that it's kind of small, a little overpriced, but it produced a lot of airflow in this small package. Each night that I slept in this thing, I just cracked the two front windows, put my window coverings on, turned this thing on. I actually used this on the low setting the first couple nights because it wasn't that hot out. I'm trying to determine what temperature range I can sleep in this thing comfortably. If the low is below like 80 degrees, I should be perfectly comfortable in this thing. I think the coldest night I slept in here was about 45 degrees outside. It was a little chilly. I just put on like a Henley long sleeve shirt, got in my sleeping bag and put on some wool socks, and I slept perfectly fine. On the drive home yesterday, I was getting a little bit tired, so I actually pulled over in a rest area and put all my window coverings in, got back here and took a 30-minute nap. This was in Texas somewhere, so it was incredibly warm outside. I think it was over 95 degrees. I put the fan on the high setting, and yeah, it was a little uncomfortable, it was a little warm, but I was able to fall asleep and stay asleep for about 30 minutes. Speaking of sleep, this mattress is so incredibly comfortable. It's nice to think every trip I take, I'm going to be saving about $300 to $500 on hotel rooms, and that was the whole purpose of buying this, so good job, Thunder Beast. One sort of issue I ran into is what to do with my sweaty, gross biking clothes. For the time being, I just kind of hung them over my bike. Later on, I got smart. I just threw my dirty clothes on the roof when I got back to wherever I was camping. That way they're on the roof, getting dried out. It doesn't stink up the van. For my dirty clothes, I just have this bag here. I stuffed my used clothes in there so they weren't just thrown all over the floor. For a short trip, it works perfectly fine. If I go out for a week or two, I'm gonna need to find a better solution for this, but again, for this trip, that's all I really needed. Something that did work really well were these magnetic shelves I bought. They never moved once. I love these when I'm sleeping. I keep my water there, I keep my phone there, my wallet. Food-wise, I was never that far from a grocery store or restaurant if I needed to stop and pick something up. I didn't want to have a bunch of extra food on hand just because I was in the mountains and I didn't need some giant bear coming and flipping over the van just to get to a Tootsie Pop that I may have left in there. So I was keeping as minimal food as possible, just buying what I needed for that day, eating it, and then making sure there was no leftover crumbs or residue in here, just so no animals got excited and tried to come see what's up. You will see underneath the bed that I have some frisbees for disc golf and a bag for spike ball. These are some activities we did on a off day of riding. My friend Ryan, it's all his stuff. He flew up there, so he didn't want to travel with it. So I was able to transport them in the van. I promise I'm not a hippie. I didn't smoke anything while I was up in Colorado and suddenly become a avid disc golf player. Those were there when I left for the trip, and I got to get them back to Ryan sometime. Oh wow, I've transported up to the driving cabin. Really quickly, I'll talk about its driving characteristics. It's slow. It's very slow. It definitely struggled on some of those mountain roads. Like, there are pretty steep grades. You would floor this thing and it would just kind of go up to 6,000 RPM and stay there, and you'd watch your speedometer just inch up. So you really have to plan out merging and passing others, because it does take some time. I believe the 0 to 60 time on this is like 10 seconds at best. The seat is actually really, really comfortable. I drove a full 17 hours yesterday and I don't have any back pain from it. Having Spotify and Google Maps on the screen, as I showed in the last video, that was invaluable. I didn't have to fiddle with my phone and see where I was going. Lastly, all my window coverings seem to work fine. I don't know of any creepers that were peeking in. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anyone. I'm very pleased with my window coverings. So there you have it. That's just a brief follow-up of how the van performed over the last week. All in all, I think it was absolutely wonderful. I slept so good in it. I was comfortable the whole time. In the future, I think I'm going to buy one of those portable solar generators. That way I can have power. My laptop did die when I was using it one night, and I was too lazy to go find a plug. Everything else, I mean, like I said, I want it to be as modular and simple as possible, and it certainly is that. I'm totally stoked on this van. I cannot wait to get back out on the road and do another trip like that. I had the best time. Thank you, Ryan, for inviting me. It was great meeting all of the guys at this bachelor party. Everyone was super cool, and we all had a great time. Alright, so enough van content for now. Please stay tuned, as there are mountain biking videos on the way. We rode 2 days at Trestle Bike Park, and then me and my friend Scott went off and rode Valmont Bike Park in Boulder, as well as Floyd Hill, just outside of Denver. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. The Thunder Beast thanks you, and until next time, stay rowdy within reason.